Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Taylor Luse, and I lead client partnerships for theatrical and television brands at Snapchat. And I'm joined by one of our favorite partners, Gerald Yarborough, who leads brand creative marketing for the television studio.
How's everybody doing? We're standing between lunch, so we understand what we're up against.
We'll try to keep the energy up. You guys get a break shortly after this, but I think we have a fun topic to talk about. We're talking about creativity and trends in 2025, so lots of good stuff in this discussion. But to take a step back, wondering, Gerald, if you could share a little bit about yourself, your career journey, and what brought you to CBS.
Awesome. So my name is Gerald Yarborough. Currently, I'm the VP of Brand Creative at CBS, but prior to getting here, I had kind of a roundabout creative journey. So starting back in my earlier days, I actually am a pharmacy major, and a pharmacy major that turned from pharmacy to art. My first role was at Nickelodeon, building their consumer products department, launch of SpongeBob, things like Paw Patrol, figuring out ways we can really engage fans in a playful way, but actually also being able to scale from adult all the way down to kids. In that role, ended up working at Paramount Pictures, doing some incredible stuff with like movies like Top Gun 2 right before the pandemic, and I got an interesting phone call from a Hollywood heavyweight icon, LL Cool J, that said, "Hey, what can I do to make you leave Nickelodeon? What do you need?" And I was like, I gave him a price. His exact words were, "Okay, bet." Anytime somebody says, "Okay, bet," just know something good's coming. So for 3 years, I traveled with them, built this Rocky Bells brand, and while things were gearing up for the 50th anniversary of hip hop, we were able to launch and relaunch the Rocky Bells Festival in Queens, like making something big and making a rebirth of something that was nostalgic and really bringing hip hop fans together. And then while that was going on, somebody at Paramount who missed me was like, "Hey, I have 3 interesting roles I would love for you to take a look at. Which one do you want?" So anytime somebody says, "Which one do you want?" you're in for something even good. So I looked at it, and I didn't really work that much in the television marketing space, but they looked at what I was doing as far as innovating across some of these other different product lines and really kind of breaking new ground. And they wanted to say, how can you bring that to what we're doing on linear television, since there are some opportunities and things that are out there that we're missing and things that are struggling. So I put my hat on about 2.5 years ago. And like right now, we've been doing a lot of great groundbreaking, repositioning the brand, making sure we have everything in place so we can have an excellent 100-year anniversary, which is coming up in 2028 for CBS.
Quite the journey. Call from LL Cool J. Not many can say that, but that is awesome and super inspiring. So
that was fun. Trust me. I was in my pajama pants during the pandemic, and then you see a guy with a purple, I remember his outfit, purple sweater, black beanie hat, and he's like, "Yo, what's up?" And I was like, "Okay, this is happening."
That's awesome. I love that. Well, to get into some thoughts around 2025, I'm sure that you've noticed the industry for both marketers and within the entertainment industry, everything's changed a lot over the years. And curious how you see this evolution changing in 2025. What sort of trends can we expect, or changes can we expect to see in your mind?
All right, well, I would say there's a lot of things that we're starting to see now that we're just going to be able to kind of build on. I know everybody's here to ask about how we're working with AI, and I know that's going to be a question. So AI will be a part of that. As you can see, a lot of different industry leaders have started maybe into it, whether it's in the commercial form or like building out full campaigns using it, which I'm going to have something to share with you in a little bit. But I also feel that the biggest trends are going back to the basics. I think people are going through a fatigue of looking at, I want to do something new. I want to bring in this celebrity. I want to bring in this product. And you bring in all these things in, but then they're like, what's the message? What is the messaging? People are losing the message. People are losing what the product is. And we've actually seen time and time again where there's a lot of things that launch go to market and nobody picks it up, or it gets lost in the sauce. But the things that really begin to kind of tap into, the ones that are authentic, the ones that really tap into a community. So I think you'll see a lot more trends that are geared around how can we get community, how can we get influencers that are tapped into a community where we can do less work, Because I think as marketers, we have all these insights, all this information, but we don't have the GPS of saying, okay, we have this information, but who's already in that space? Who is already, speaking to that person in their language, and what can we learn from that? So I think a lot of those trends are going to start picking up. And I wanted to share with you one thing around AI, which I think is incredible. And I know, speaking about trends, let me see if this works. I have a clicker, so. Okay, boom. The first one works. Boom. So this is something when we think about emerging. So when you talk about trends that are happening and things that are funny and things are different, when I say go back to basics, everybody knows linear TV and appointment TV is very difficult. But what we have with CBS and with Paramount, we have a thing about what our premieres are, but we're also looking at how do we have people tune in for appointment television, but also then push them to looking at what's going to be going on streaming. Because the big push is like, hey, you watch it, but then how do you binge it? So then now we said, how can we bring things together that's going to be interesting and tap into something that is nostalgic. Everybody knows about their big comfy blue sofa. Everybody has a nice couch at home. Everybody has a remote. But how can we gear them up to figuring out what they want to do for Premiere Week? And with Premiere Week, we have all our new shows launching. We have recurring shows. What can we do that's different? So we created a 20-foot couch, stuck it to the back of a Sprinter van, and we drove it across part of America. I wouldn't say all of America, I would say part of America. Because with budgets, we couldn't get everywhere, but we got something. But we also were able to kind of create a comedy show around our comedy lineup with our new comedies and bring in our celebrities. So the other thing is also tying in your talent, because everybody loves talent. Everybody wants to engage with their talent. But the thing is, as the average consumer, that talent relationship and that person that you see every day is what really kind of makes you feel like they're at home with you and they're part of the family. So you have to bring them in the front and center. So we created an event that was CBS, We're Laughing at CBS, which was a comedy show where they actually, instead of doing stand-up comedy, it was sit-down comedy. So you sat on couches. We did a collaboration with Lovesac. They supplied all the couches. So you had sit-down comedy with some of your favorite comedy celebrities, and then they get to tell you about the show that's coming for Premiere Week.
Absolutely love that. That is so fun. Is this a couch you can actually get at Lovesac?
Well, the couch at Lovesac is the ones that they're sitting on. Those are the navy blue ones. We couldn't get the actual same color cobalt blue. But those you can actually buy if you wanted to. There is a QR code when you came to the event where you can actually purchase the actual couches. But the comfy blue sofa, which was funny after doing all the fabrication, it was not actually that comfy. It's actually hard, solid plastic. So the funny thing about it is traveling, but we're like, how can it drive on a highway and be able to be cleaned if it's going to be fabric? So we're like, yeah, it's going to have to be plastic. But, you get the shock, you get the dynamic images of like when you're driving down the highway, you're like, what is this giant couch, and what is Get Comfy, what is Premiere Week? And then on the back of it, we have a QR code where as you're driving, this is totally not safe. If you're parked at a light, you can pick up your phone and go, oh, yeah. Now I know what Premiere Week is.
That's so fun. I absolutely love that. Thank you. So thinking outside of CBS, is there an example of someone who's demonstrated true innovation recently that's inspired you? A campaign?
There's a lot of campaigns that I've been looking at, and in my role with innovation, I'm looking at social media, I'm going to conferences, I'm sitting and speaking with other marketers, and I would say for anything, another emerging thing to look for trends, I would say is tapping into agencies. Everybody knows across the entertainment landscape, teams are shrinking, but with shrinking teams, you have to speak to those that are innovating in other spaces because they're more nimble, and that would be your agency partners. So I've always partnered with people like Team Epiphany, Coltrane, they know exactly what they're doing. But there was one team at Tool, North America, that created something that I thought was fairly interesting. And what is it fairly? This knocked my socks off, and whenever we're allowed to use AI, I want to figure out how we can make this thing happen. But they partnered with Starburst. The candy, everybody's had a Starburst before? So they partnered with Starburst, and they said, we wanted to come up with a campaign. We wanted to use AI in an interesting way. So I just want to share with you this clip. I'll stop talking.
Starburst decided to break the algorithm by giving people content that is different every single time they see it. We took a modular approach to the creative. Each spot was made up of one of 4 establishing scenes, 14 different consumption moments, dozens of AI worlds, and finally the end tag, all with an AI twist. It started with a green screen shoot. Then we used licensed content to shape our AI styles. and built a first-of-its-kind custom AI pipeline. This allowed us to create a lot of unique styles, and some that didn't make the cut. When pieced together, they could create more than 300,000 commercials, over 1 million versions when created in different aspect ratios, giving you a different flavor with each and every viewing. Using technology that's typically designed to serve you more of the same, Starburst used it to serve you something different every time.
So I can see everybody's mouth wide open. So if anybody goes up to AI, tell them Gerald sent you. And because when I saw this, I said, dude, I'm telling you, I'm going to share this every time I talk. Because I believe, one, it's so groundbreaking, but to be able to get over 84 different pieces of content off of one shoot is something that I live for. And if you look at, everybody's looking at doing cut downs and paid media, imagine what you can do instead of you focusing on, I created this big piece of content and I got to cut this down into a bunch of 5 and 10 and get a paid media attached to it. Imagine if you can just create one shoot and it can already be set up and designed using AI for paid media. And you can have something different for every customer that you're looking at with every platform. This is groundbreaking. They've also done something with Under Armour as well, where they couldn't get talent in place to launch their favorite boxer. So they used old footage and AI and was able to create this. So I think this in the content space is one, going to be a game changer. And I think the sooner you can get to market, the better. I also noticed that recently Adweek announced that Coca-Cola did an interesting commercial using all AI for animation. I think in animation space you have more leeway. I do feel when you start dealing with talent and you're still dealing with stuff with film and television, because we do have to be respectful of our creators, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. But I feel like everything you can come up with a great solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's Coca-Cola campaign, I think, just came out, so we were talking about that right before this. And I think the Starburst one is such a great way to think about scaling creativity in a unique way, but obviously a risk because, AI can be a risky thing within the world of creativity right now. So on that note, just curious if there's been a campaign that, was a risk to you of some sort that pulled off in a way maybe you didn't expect or anticipate.
Well, coming into my space, everybody looked at me like this guy is going to come and ruin all the fun stuff we used to do because he has these crazy ideas. So coming from a product background and doing stuff with collaborating with a lot of artists, I said, what can we do at CBS? When you think of CBS, you don't think young, you don't think cool, you don't think hip, you don't think doing a fashion drop as part of that. But I said, but how can we reinvent that and really kind of tap into the next gen? So we partnered with a good friend of mine, Alexander John. He's a sneaker collaborator. He's more best known for doing his sneaker, the mixtape with Emory Jones and Puma. That was literally the #1 sneaker collab over the last 2 years. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, could we do something cool around NCIS? And he's an NCIS fan. At the same time, I had just recently left Rock the Bells where my old boss, LL Cool J, was on NCIS Los Angeles. And we wanted to commemorate the 1,000th episode of the franchise. So for anybody who knows of TVs, for anything to make 1,000 episodes collectively over a franchise, we're talking the DC, LA, New Orleans, Hawaii, and Sydney franchise together. So we said, well, can we come up with something that's going to be cool, be a marketing lever to kind of tap into the young generation, and also help us to kind of build our Paramount shop where we do all our purchasing, which is mostly usually D2C product. So we ended up talking to him and said, hey, can we get a jacket, and can we get a hat, and can we kind of come up with a cool packaging device that we give it to our series regulars. So imagine 7 series regulars for each show. We all met in Hollywood on the set in Paramount. We gifted them these jackets in these cool little, evidence cases. But the funny thing is, on social, we had a video that...
Please tell me we're recording.
Looky here, folks. I got some gear.
Unboxing. A little ASMR first.
Well, it's labeled evidence. The problem is I'm the suspect.
Normally, there's some pretty nasty stuff that goes into this bag.
If you take me an evidence bag, I would know what I'm doing.
What? Is everybody else having...
What the what?
Oh, this is so cool. Super cool.
That's so cool.
That's so cool.
This is really cool.
Cool. It's got my name on it, guys.
DCLA.
No. Goodbye, sis.
I feel like a navy pink lady.
Limited edition, 1,000 episodes.
History, baby.
Now, some lucky fan might be getting something very similar to this. Am I right?
Yes.
We have this, which I'm assuming is money.
Let's make sure there's no ticking sound for it.
This is better than money.
A hat.
Ooh, a good trucker hat.
A hat that's not gonna fit my giant head.
And of course, you got the infamous gloves.
White gloves. I love this.
When it comes to gloves, especially crime scene gloves, they take forever to get on. It takes you years and years of practice to be able to do that real quick.
Finally going to get to go home. They look at my wife and say, "Have you dusted lately?" And I can just do a little lick. Nope.
What I'll do now, that I have these gloves on, is I'm going to go into Wilmer Valderrama's trailer and move stuff around and make him think he's being haunted.
Cool. Pretty sure the fans are gonna have fun getting one of these.
From the set of NCIS, celebrating 1,000 episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate you.
I'm going to wear this and try to slip out of the joint with all the other people in these black jackets.
So that was funny because one, you got the talent to engage, but two, the fact that they work with these evidence bags every day on set, we got a kind of like Hollywood gold that they couldn't open up their evidence bags. And that had so many impressions online. The jackets were gifted, the extra 50 were gifted to fans. And then we had a slew of questions like, where the heck is this jacket? I want more jackets. So it actually opened up a new product category where young people normally, if it's something that's police focused, they're like, I'm not wearing a narcs jacket. But this jacket, now we're trying to figure out like, how can we get this automated and kind of sold kind of always on our Paramount shop. So this is something that was new just off of taking a risk.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love those jackets. I also love the struggle cam part of it. I think it's just such a fun video. And I was going to ask you, with your background being within the music space, kind of how you see the intersection of music and fashion and marketing for entertainment taking place, how you are inspired by some of the music partners or fashion partners, and I think this is a great example of that, but how else do you see those collaborations?
Well, I think this is this scratches the surface first, but I feel like there's ways of bringing in our talent and like what are their playlists. So there's things that we're trying to do as we emerge with this kind of CBS Television City, which is like kind of going to be the moniker for everything Premier Week and moving forward. So that now CBS, the brand, is a destination where you kind of come into the brand. So in the brand, there's fashion, there's clothing, there's also going to be music and there's soundtrack. So imagine you go on set and you're watching something like Fire Country. And Fire Country, if you watch the show, there's a huge country music kind of undertone to it. Then now how can we partner with some of the celebrities? And we've had a couple celebrities that are in the music space be guest stars on the show. But then now how could their soundtracks be part of the show? And then how can you then now have Max or some of the other stars that say, hey, when I'm getting ready to get pumped for the scene, I'm going to listen to this soundtrack. If you want to go to this soundtrack, maybe you can partner with Spotify. Or you can partner with my Apple Music and say, hey, go get this soundtrack. Also seen on Fire Country or also seen on one of our other shows. So I think there's ways to kind of integrate that, but I also feel the bigger piece when you think of music, you think of festivals, you think of gathering people together. So the biggest thing about appointment TV watching, if you can't watch it together as a family, which is what we used to do across generational households, what can you do if you can pop up at places like the Minnesota State Fair where everybody's already there together? What if we brought this couch? What if we brought people? What if we did something if you're a huge Survivor fan? And these are all ideas and some things that are actually in the work, wink, wink. So imagine you're a Survivor fan, you've watched Survivor, you want to kind of do some of these stunts, you want to go through some of these, feel like a contestant. What if, you show up in the middle of Manhattan and Dumbo and there's a huge obstacle course that's set up for Survivor? Imagine if there's a beach drop where you can go to a beach or your local beach in LA or wherever, and you can actually try some of the challenges right there, and then possibly Jeff Probst pops up, and he's like, hey guys, let's go. Those are things where fans are engaged, and then you have like the music aspect of it. So you're really able to kind of creatively communicate with your fan and the people that really watch the show and keep things going musically, through what they see visually and then how they have their activities and what they're working with. So we want to be able to kind of appeal to them every way and actually keep them coming back for different reasons.
All right. I think we just have a few minutes left, so I want to do some rapid fire questions.
Oh boy.
He hasn't seen these yet, so these are very off the cuff. But your go-to activity for creative inspiration?
All right. It's going to sound crazy, but I like to do nothing. I kid you not, like some of my best ideas I'm like, I'm gonna go take a quick walk and I'm just gonna sit. And I always keep my notebook or my cell phone and I'll just sit. I was like, I'll walk out of the room or walk out of my house with the intention of like, what's something that I want to solve? And I'll just won't think about it and I'll sit there and the idea usually comes to me. If not, I would say traveling. Sometimes the best ideas come when you're in business class for 8 hours because you have nothing else to do. You run out of movies to watch, and you're like, wait a minute, I should fill out my notebook. And you just, so that's another good go-to. And then last, I would say mentorship. A lot of people don't really look excited about mentorship because they think it takes away your time. But I feel like that's the greatest way to stay connected with the next generation and what's kind of emerging. My mentors have taught me so much, but my mentees, I think sometimes even teach me more than my mentors. Sitting with some of my mentees that are like doing things that I wasn't even thinking about in college, or as soon as they get out of school, I'm like, how are you even thinking about that? That's a problem that we're thinking about in the C-suite, but you're trying to figure out how to solve that right out of college. So you're always, met with challenges, but you're also met with solutions that you would not even expect coming from a 20-something-year-old. That's like, hey, why don't you guys think about this up there? And I'm like, why don't we think about that? That's a good idea. And then I write it down. So I think mentorship is one of my, I say like almost like the number one off of that list.
All right. What's a trend you think is overhyped or overrated right now?
Okay, everybody, don't kill me. Influencers. I love influencers, but I feel like if it's not influence, if you're not finding an influencer with a direct tie, it's just having somebody with a lot of followers, building a product, but not having a real reason. Because what happens when people look at these things, the people that are on social media, they know when they're being sold to. They know when something is a money grab, and they'll call you out for it in a minute. And I think if you don't have the right people in the room that are informed over, like, if you're going to get this influencer, the why has to be there and the reason why it's connected has to be there, not just because they have 6 million followers and if we launch a product, they're going to automatically sell out. I've seen it happen a number of times where we've had great influencers and on campaigns and the product sat. Or sometimes it backfired and blew up because their fan base was like, why are you doing this? And these young people have power, and we have to speak with them, knowing that because they have power, we have to have respect for their community and where they're coming from when we are marketing to them.
Last one. What are you currently watching?
Okay, currently, Martin. Reruns of Martin all the time. Curb Your Enthusiasm. And Rick and Morty. Told you I have a very weird, eclectic. This case goes crazy.
Great lineup, great lineup. All right, well, thank you so much, Gerald. It was so nice to chat with you.
Awesome, thank you so much.